Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kara, and today's video is going to be my April housing market update. Before I dive into the content of today's video, I briefly want to give you guys a bit of an update as to what's been going on. So you probably noticed I haven't posted a video for I think 2 or 3 weeks now, and part of it is because I've just been feeling really overwhelmed and honestly really struggling a bit with trying to find a balance of work and life, and business has slowed down a bit for me. February was quite busy. March and April have been a little bit slower, which has honestly been a nice change of pace for me to kind of catch my breath a little bit before the, spring and summer rush really get kicked off. But yeah, I've been just kind of struggling a little bit, and I feel like that's not something that's talked about very much, or at least in my industry, it's very frequent that people say, well, just like, don't talk about that, don't share that. People don't want to hear, the negative side of things, and you're supposed to stay uplifted and be happy for your clients and, always have a smiling face. And the reality is that's just not true. That's not how I work. That's not how a lot of people work. I have good days and I have bad days. So it's been a bit of a rough patch for me. And on top of that, our family dog just passed away a few days ago, so still kind of getting over that. I'm not going to go into the details of everything that's been going on, but I did just want to give you that brief update so that you know why, if I seem a little bit off in this video, or just you were curious why I haven't posted a video in a while, that's why. So let's dive into today's video. As always, I'm going to be breaking this up into a few different sections, those being price, inventory, mortgages, local news, and other news. So let's start out with price on a national level. I only have one statistic for this category this time around, and that is that home prices are down 3.3% year over year, selling for a median of $400,000. In terms of prices on a local level, they are continuing to increase. So in Buncombe County, the median sale price is $435,000, which is 3.5% up from a year ago. For Henderson County, the median sale price is up to $405,000, which is actually a 10% increase from last year. For the Asheville region in general, the median sale price is $380,000, which is 6.8% higher than last year. So as you can see, when we compare these statistics, prices on a national level are starting to decline a little bit, but prices here in Asheville and the surrounding counties are continuing to increase, at least on a year-over-year basis. Now, I just mentioned median sale price, but I think it's important to also mention average sale price. So the average sale price is $545,000 in Buncombe County, $470,000 in Henderson County, and $453,000 for the Asheville region. In March, the number of homes for sale in the U.S. was up 5.8% year over year. New listings, on the other hand, were down 23.5%. When we look at inventory on a local level, we see a somewhat similar story. Inventory in Buncombe County is up 22.4%. Now I know that seems pretty significant, but keep in mind that the number of listings for sale is still under 500 for the county. In Henderson County, inventory is actually up 46%, but there are only around 250 homes for sale in that county. For the Asheville region in general, inventory is up 24%, with just under 1,600 homes for sale. Now remember, the Asheville region is comprised of 13 different counties, so while it seems like those percentages are pretty high, it's like saying that foreclosure rates have doubled. Maybe they have, but if we're starting at a 1% baseline, then, doubling isn't that big of a difference. It's also super important to differentiate inventory of homes for sale and number of new listings. For example, new listings for the region are down 13.6% year over year. This shows that homes are sitting on the market for longer and not being scooped up in a day or two. I mentioned this in videos in the past, but it's pretty clear with this statistic that demand is not what it used to be. So while we're seeing fewer homes come on the market, inventory is still growing, which I know is a bit of an interesting concept. But basically it just means that if a new home comes on the market and it doesn't sell right away and it sits on the market, and maybe another home pops up on the market, then theoretically the amount of inventory is increasing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that more homes are being sold. And I think that's a really important concept to remember. All right, let's move on to mortgage news. Mortgage rates have dropped a bit and are hovering right around 6.3% at the moment. Consequently, mortgage applications are at their highest level since May of 2022, indicating a surge of activity as the spring home buying season kicks off. I mentioned in one of my recent housing market update videos that if you're sitting on the sidelines and waiting for mortgage rates to come down, or maybe for prices to come down a little bit before actually actively looking to purchase a property, then I think that you might want to reconsider that strategy. Now, I know it might sound like I'm saying that for my own personal gain, but hear me out for a minute. So if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for rates to drop, what do you think a lot of other buyers are doing? They are probably also waiting on the sidelines for rates to drop. So we have a lot of potential buyers out there sitting, watching the news, watching my videos, reading articles, whatever it is, keeping up with the housing market very closely, waiting for that point where they feel like maybe there's a bottom in the market and they want to scoop up a really good deal. Well, if there are all these people waiting to do this, what's going to happen is that when rates do drop, then there will be a bunch of buyers flooding the market, and we'll have the same thing that we had the first half of last year and also in 2021, where there are lots of buyers on the market, competition is very high, there will be lots of over-asking offers, and inventory will still be low. There's an important point here that I'm trying to get at, and that is that if you are financially able to purchase a property right now, it might be a good idea to start looking before there is a lot more competition that's going to hit the market. And you know what? If interest rates do end up dropping, then you can go ahead and refinance your mortgage. So it's ultimately a win-win. Less competition, and you can still get that low interest rate if rates do end up dropping. All right, let's move on to some local news. I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I'm thinking about it now, so I'll just throw it in here. But I recently earned my green designation. Now, for those of you that maybe are new to my channel or don't know me very well, my background is actually in environmental science, so that's what my degree is in. And I've always had a passion for sustainability, non-toxic products, green built homes, renewable energy, those sorts of things. And I decided this year to take the next step and really start to specialize in that. Now, I will definitely be helping, anyone else that's not necessarily interested in those types of homes or products. But I thought it would be really neat to learn more about it and get a designation in it. So I recently did that, officially a green designee, and this means that I'm more qualified than a lot of other agents to help you with looking for a high performance home in terms of energy efficiency, non-toxic materials, how to make your pre-existing home more energy efficient, how to lay out your land to be the most sustainable, and a lot of other factors. I'm definitely excited to dive into this topic a bit more, so you'll certainly be seeing some content around those types of topics, and yeah, I'm excited to share it with you. So leave me a comment down below, let me know if that's something that you were interested in as well. I recently heard a statistic that Asheville is ranked number 4 for the hottest small rental market. Vacant apartments have become 5% more competitive in the last year and are filled in on average 29 days, which is actually 8 days fewer than the national average. With an occupancy rate around 96%, this puts Asheville as one of the hottest rental markets in the state. If you love to hike and see the waterfalls around here, then it's good to note that Catalpa Falls is going to be closed for another year. They've been doing trail maintenance and improvements there, and it was actually closed all of last year as well, but unfortunately construction is taking a little bit longer than they expected, so it's going to be another year before it reopens. I also heard in the news this week that there's actually an old brownfield location, which, if you're not familiar with that term, it basically means there is a site that was previously contaminated, whether it was a gas station or, there was something that basically leaked into the ground or is hazardous in some way. It's deemed a brownfield, meaning that it needs to be remediated before anything can be done to the land again. So there was actually a 5-acre parcel of land along Carrier Park. So if you're familiar with where Home Ground is, it's pretty much right across the street. You may have seen like a chain link fence kind of blocking off one area. And this has been a project that's been going on for like 10 years, remediating that part of the park. It used to actually be a junkyard where they would crush cars, so any oil and gasoline and other chemicals just ultimately leached into the ground. So they've been removing the soil, cleaning it all up, and pretty soon it's going to be open. So they're going to be connecting that path with the other parts of Carrier Park and whatever the other park is. I call the entire thing Carrier Park, but I know that each little parking area has its own name. But pretty soon that will all be connected. The last bit of local news that I have is that the I-26 connector project has officially been approved. This was actually first proposed in 1989 and has gone through various revisions to get to the point where it's at now. This project is going to impact the West Asheville I-240 section and also surrounding interchanges. There's a lot of information about this project online, but super brief overview, they're going to be widening the interstate in that area and bringing the interchanges up to code, because right now that area tends to have more accidents, probably not more than the current I-26 construction area, but it is a heavily trafficked area that does need some updating. It will be affecting some properties that back up to the interstate, so that's good to know about. And I will leave a few links in the description box about this project so that you can learn more and see what kind of construction is going to be starting. Alright, let's end out the video with some other news. The average apartment size in the US fell from 917 to 887 square feet in 2021, according to a report from Rent Cafe. Additionally, the average US apartment size is now down 54 square feet from 10 years ago. I'm not really sure what to make of this statistic. It could be because developers are trying to cram more people into a smaller space in order to increase their profits, but it could also just be due to, different demands and how they've changed over the years. I know that, for example, tiny homes are way more popular now than they were 10 years ago. I feel like 10 years ago, tiny homes weren't even a thing. And so maybe it's just that people want smaller spaces. But I'm curious what you guys think about that and what your thoughts are on that statistic. This next statistic probably doesn't come as too much of a surprise, but California has actually been losing residents to other states for the past 2 decades. As you can see in this chart, the pandemic certainly exacerbated this, but this trend is nothing really new. A question I get asked quite frequently is what types of people are moving to Asheville and where are the most popular states in terms of people coming here? And the ones that I always mention are Florida for sure, California, Texas, Colorado, and sometimes a few states up north too. My final statistic is actually one that I find really neat and really exciting because it's around sustainability. So let me pull it up here for you. So the statistic is younger generations of buyers and sellers are showing a preference for a home that's prepped for a sustainable future in an active community. Gen Z buyers, for instance, are much more interested in smart features, around 78%, new builds, 77%, and sustainable materials, 81%, than older generations. Overall, 91% of Gen Zers reported having a green home is important, while just 85% of Gen Y and 73% of Gen X and 60% of baby boomers and seniors thought it was important. So while I'm not sure how accurate these statistics are, I feel like anytime there's polls, you know, you kind of have to take the statistic with a grain of salt because, you know, who is really taking the poll, how big is the sample size, all that. But even all of that aside, the fact that, you know, newer generations are more interested in sustainability and green built homes, I find, you know, really exciting and really promising for the future. As I mentioned a bit earlier, if that's something that interests you and you want to kind of pick my brain about that topic, feel free to leave me a comment down below, reach out to me at any time. I always leave my contact info in the description box and also at the end of the video. Well, that is pretty much everything that I had for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for being patient with me as I, you know, try to be consistent with my YouTube channel. So as always, if you are not already subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this video with your family and friends, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you like this video and what types of videos you would like to see in the future. I'll leave my contact info below as well as at the end of this video. Alright everyone, I'll see you very soon in the next one.